2 or 3.
Yeah, put it under the horizon.
Yeah.
2 hours of ambient right now.
Here's our camp on the second night. As you can see, it's a gorgeous spot. But the most gorgeous thing about it is that it's right next to this raging river. Right at the end of the rock here. And if you walk out to the end of the rock, you can see Teresa getting water at this beautiful campsite. Teresa getting water, we can turn around and see our tent again. And then up here is our fire ring and Bob's tent. So we can get a little closer look at that. And there comes Teresa. And here's looking back at our tent where we started. Well, here it is, our 5th day in, and I haven't had much of an opportunity to shoot any video. I'm too busy hiking. Can't really get my hands free. There's Bob's gear. Last night his pack was taken away right up the hill there, to the ridge by a bear who chewed into it and took out some snacks Bob had. While Bob went back to sleep over here. We've been over at our campfire on this side. Real nice campfire by this rock. By the way, this is the clothes drying rock where we do our laundry down at the river there. As you can see, there's some more shots of the river. All the way up there to the waterfall, which goes significantly higher. If I were to walk up about another 100 feet here, you could see it goes up maybe 100-foot high waterfall. Anyway, we're sitting here at the campfire last night over on these rocks, just having a chat about bears, and Bob wishing he could have a bear experience, when all of a sudden we heard a crack, and we started looking around over here and there and the other side, all in the dark, with very weak flashlights to try and see the bear. We thought it might be a bear with a big crack from a large branch. And we didn't hear anything else, so we went back to chatting. And when we finished up and went back to Bob's bed, which was laid out over here, he's sleeping out under the stars in his bivy sack and sleeping bag, he noticed his pack was gone. And there were drag marks. And no sooner did he notice his pack was gone and couldn't find it, but he looked up here with the flashlight, and there was a bear right behind that log, going all the way, turning around because it heard us, and sauntering back up here was a black bear cub, and basically it had come back for seconds after having stolen his pack. So Teresa, who was sleeping in the tent here, woke up and came out, her shoes on, came out, flashlight, and we all looked around there, all worried that Mommy might be around in the dark, and Mommy never showed up, and we didn't see anything of the bear again. However, while I watched camp to make sure the bear didn't come back here, because sometimes they circle around and you never know where they're coming from, in the dark, Bob and Teresa went up the ridge there, and up over the top, and over here, where you can't even see from this low, and found Bob's pack, which was chewed into. A big hole in it. Bob, got some video going here. You want to show that hole on your pack with a bear chewed into it?
Bear hole.
Okay, there it is, right there.
Bear hole.
And got all the snacks, the beef jerky and the peanuts and the apple and the bananas, chips, and everything was in there, and didn't do much damage.
They didn't like the coffee though.
No, didn't like the coffee and left that alone, and the garlic. Didn't like the garlic and the rosemary. Alright, so anyway, that's the story of, oh, by the way, here's our cooking place. Already it's pretty well cleaned up. We had the stove set up a little while ago, made spam and fresh hot cakes. There's one of our bear canisters, which the bear left alone, and here comes Teresa from a little trip into the woods. That's enough for this little entry. Okay, there's our camp. And I'm going to take a little trek up here so I can get a better angle on this waterfall. As you can see, it's pretty nice, but when you get up here just a little ways, you can actually see it's a pretty big waterfall. It goes all the way up there to the top of the ridge. Get up to this rock here, and there it is. From there, it comes down here, the river, and in fact, you'll notice there's one river here that comes down from way up there at this high ridge. It comes over from that side where we're walking, moves down here, that way, but at the same time, this waterfall is coming from here all the way down there, and the two of them connect right down here. And in the middle is this very thin peninsula of rock and brush that goes up to the main body, with the waterfall being there and the other source of water coming down from here. Okay, previous days when I've been out hiking on the John Muir Trail, including this trip, I've gone along at kind of not a breakneck pace, but a quick walking pace, so that there isn't enough time to see what you're passing. Only when you stop and look around and see something are you able to note the environment. But I started thinking, how would John Muir have actually gone on the John Muir Trail? And it occurred to me that he probably would saunter. He would probably pause at interesting things that he saw along the way, stop to consider something philosophically, look at the possibility of finding some new kind of wildlife or a new plant that he might encounter, wonder at it all, and go at a more leisurely pace. So yesterday morning, on our way hiking up to Thousand Island Lake, I decided to take this more leisurely approach, and instead of getting out of breath, I found for the first time I was actually enjoying the trail and the environment and the atmosphere. And I realized that hiking for me is not a destination process. It's not, we have to make it 5 miles today, or we have to make it to a certain point. Hiking for me is a walk in the woods. And when I can walk in the woods and take the time I'm taking now to just think about the scenery and my place in the universe, it's a much more interesting process. So once again, I'm going to turn on my radio. There we go. There's kind of a stagnant pond here. You'd expect a lot of mosquitoes, and yet strangely enough, there haven't been a lot of mosquitoes on this trail, and they've sort of left me alone as well. Interesting old uprooted tree. Another one over here that they've cut for the trail. Okay, I'm going to close this now, but I'm going to take some more video, since this area doesn't have the striking photographic images that I usually capture on my still camera. And I think on the next time I go on a trail trip, I'm going to start a live trail journal, just like this one, of the things that I encounter and whatever musings come to mind. And I'll just carry a couple extra batteries for this thing and some extra storage cards for the memory. That's it for now. Okay, there's the view towards our destination, finally in sight. And here's the trail we have to pass that Bob's already on. As you can see, it's a little bit rugged here. So, we're gonna keep our eyes down here on the trail and try to get around here without... Now, a reminder here, we're no longer on the John Muir Trail. After we reached Thousand Island Lake, we decided to take a different route, which goes on the river trail, because it'll save a couple of days, even though it's just ending up in the same place. It's not as twisty and turny. And therefore, much better for getting us all back in a better amount of time. Oh, and while we're at it, here's a nice waterfall and all these rocky crags around us and timberline. Let's see what's around the corner, and then we'll end this transmission. Oh, another view of the beautiful mountains and Bob heading down into the wilderness. And that's it for now. Signing off. Well, here's a real interesting red tree I'm taking a picture of, so maybe Teresa can tell me if it's a cedar. It sort of looks like a cedar, but I'm not that good with trees. Anyway, this is quite a beautiful little area up here on the left, where I'm currently standing. Okay, we're at this beautiful meadow. Really, really nice. And you can see that over on this side, probably, is a beautiful cascade. And now we're going to head on down here as our trail takes us right over this little creek. So we're going to cross that creek. They've got some stones here, but the creek is down, so I think I'm just going to go through it. Which is actually easier. Very typical creek. Okay, here's my pack today. This is our last day on trail, although we have one more night of camping out at Red's Meadow. And there's our tent, and there's Bob and Teresa at the last trail breakfast, where we had sausage patties, freeze-dried, came out really well, pancakes, and scrambled eggs.
I'm just talking about making one of the kinds of situations.
Here's what Bob's left last night. And morning around the old campfire.
I don't know.
Really beautiful creek down here. We'll take a look at that. So you can see it's quite a nice little area. All kinds of minor rapids. And fun place to hang out. Go down here. You can see the creek over here on this side. And all the way down through here. One of the things I like best about this is this rock face up here. It's just cut straight down into the rock from that creek, which has been coming here for so long. Very cool. Everywhere you turn is something interesting to take a picture of. Well, it's our last day hiking. We've got 2.5 miles to go. Early morning sunrise. 2.5 miles to go. And then we hit the road, pick up the shuttle, breeze into Meadow. We'll camp there. It's a resort. And we'll be able to resupply and also to get a hamburger or a cheeseburger, fries, and a shake. And a shower. Just need a shower. Everything must be dry cleaned when we get home. That's it. Well, there's the trail, and along the trail here, it's a place they had to chop up some logs so we could get through. But the strange thing is this large dead tree that goes all the way up there, having fallen onto these trees, and ends stuck up against them and slightly bent from the weight. Really neat. Okay, here we are walking along trail. Looking at some of the interesting sights as we pass by and see some of this verdant undergrowth. Weird tree up there. Quite spectacular views. Oh yeah, that's a grand one. Going back into all this lush green. Quite interesting. Tall alders, quaking aspen. A beautiful view up there again. So we go into the brush one more time. And here's the creek that I've been hearing, with some stones to walk across. Well, wasn't that fun? Well, after all our trekking miles and miles and miles and miles away from civilization or the comforts of home, we're on the last leg of our journey. We only had 2 1/3 or 2.3 miles to go from the campsite we made last night before we hit the road where the shuttle leads us to Meadow, which is a High Sierra resort, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's only here because Devil's Postpile and the Minaret Falls are nearby. But the thing is, we've gone about a mile, maybe a little more. So this is a very unused trail. We've chosen this one particularly to extend our wilderness experience. However, right now if a car honked its horn on the road, I'd probably hear it up here. So far no sign of civilization. And being a little used trail, it's nice and quiet just like the rest of our trip. Very natural, and a very small trail, not a super highway 5 or 10 feet wide like some of them that we were on earlier that we crossed to get to this one. But in any event, the wilderness experience is drawing to a close, and we'll see how long it is from here before I see my first day hikers, even though they probably won't use this unused trail, little used trail, or hear a car horn or something of that nature, or a crowd going by. And that'll be the end of our journey.